Once Upon a Crime, the Mona Lisa Heist. Part 1, The Vanishing Smile, a podcast for kids, classrooms, and families, where you become the detective. Written by Beaumont. Once upon a time, in a city filled with croissants, cobblestones, and curious art lovers, something very strange happened. It was a Monday morning in Paris, France. The year, 1911. The sun was rising over the rooftops, and the Louvre Museum, one of the most famous museums in the world, was just waking up. Inside its grand halls, paintings hung quietly on the walls. Statues stood still. The air smelled of old wood, marble floors, and 1,000 years of history. But one painting wasn't where it should be. Her name was Mona Lisa. She had a mysterious smile, a calm gaze, and a reputation for being the most famous painting in the world. People came from all over to see her, to stand in front of her tiny frame and wonder, why is she smiling like that? Is she hiding a secret? Is she laughing at me? But on that Monday morning, Mona Lisa was gone. Scene 1, the empty wall. It was a museum guard named Monsieur Boudin who first noticed. He walked past the gallery where Mona Lisa usually hung and stopped. His shoes squeaked. His heart skipped. The wall was empty. No painting, no frame, just a few hooks and a pale rectangle where the masterpiece used to be. He blinked, he looked again, he rubbed his eyes. "Mona Lisa," he whispered, "where have you gone?" Scene 2, the staff panic. Within minutes, the museum was in chaos. Guards ran down corridors. Curators gasped. The director of the museum nearly dropped his coffee. Check the storage rooms. Was she moved for cleaning? Is this a prank? But it wasn't a prank, and it wasn't a mistake. Mona Lisa had vanished. Scene 3, the clues begin. The police arrived. They dusted for fingerprints. They questioned the staff. They searched every broom cupboard, every hallway, every crate. And then they found something. A glass case, a frame empty. It was Mona Lisa's frame, left behind in a stairwell. Whoever took her had removed the painting from the frame and walked away. But how? The museum was locked overnight. The guards were on duty, and Mona Lisa was protected by glass. So who could have done it? Let's meet the suspects. Suspect 1, the poet with a grudge. There was a famous poet named Guillaume Apollinaire. He was known for wild ideas, strange friends, and shouting things like art should be free. He once said the Louvre should be burned down. He'd also been friends with a man who'd stolen small statues from the museum before. Suspicious, maybe. Suspect 2, the guard with a secret. One of the museum guards had been acting strangely. He'd taken an extra day off. He'd been seen near the gallery the day before, and he had access to the keys. Could he have slipped the painting out under his coat? Suspect 3, the Italian visitor. A quiet man named Vincenzo had been working at the museum. He was Italian, like the Mona Lisa herself. He wore a white smock like the other workers. He cleaned glass cases and swept floors. No one paid much attention to him. But maybe they should have. Now it's your turn, detective. You've heard the setup, you've met the suspects, you've seen the clues. Who do you think took the Mona Lisa? Was it the angry poet, the sneaky guard, or the quiet cleaner? Now take a moment to pause. Part 2, Clues in the Gallery, a podcast for kids, classrooms, and families, where you become the detective. Written by Beaumont. Narrator curious, suspenseful tone. Last time on Once Upon a Crime, the Mona Lisa vanished from the Louvre Museum. The world's most famous painting gone. Just an empty frame, a few hooks, and a whole lot of questions. You met the suspects. A poet with a grudge. A guard with a secret. And a quiet cleaner named Vincenzo. Now it's time to dig deeper. Let's follow the clues. Magnifying glass tilted left. Scene 1, the locked doors. The Louvre was locked overnight. Only a few people had keys. The guards checked every entrance, nothing was broken. No windows smashed, no alarms triggered. So whoever took the painting had to be inside already. Code Scene 2, the white smock. One clue stood out, a white smock. It was found in a cupboard near the gallery. The kind of smock worn by museum workers, the kind that made you blend in. Could the thief have dressed like a cleaner, walked past the guards, carried the painting under their coat? Door Scene 3, the missing doorknob. Another clue, a doorknob was missing from a side door, not broken, removed, carefully, quietly. The police believed the thief had unscrewed it ahead of time, so they could slip out unnoticed. Smart, sneaky, suspicious. Scene 4, the train ticket. Days passed. The museum stayed closed. People lined up outside, hopping for news. Reporters shouted. Artists cried. Tourists were confused. Then a tip came in. A train ticket from Paris to Florence, Italy, booked by a man named Vincenzo. The quiet cleaner. Scene 5, the red herrings. But wait, not so fast. The poet Apollinaire was arrested. He once stolen small statues from the museum. He'd written poems about destroying art. He was loud, dramatic, and full of strange ideas. He was questioned for days, but he didn't know anything about the Mona Lisa. Red herring. The guard, he'd taken a day off, but he'd been at home with his family. No smock, no missing doorknob, no train ticket. Red herring. So what do we know? The thief had access to the museum. They wore a white smock. They removed a doorknob. They left behind the frame. And they may have taken a train to Italy. Who do you think did it? Was it someone hiding in plain sight? Someone who blended in? Someone who thought they were doing the right thing? Now take a moment to pause. The Man with the Mustache, a podcast for kids, classrooms, and families, where you become the detective. Written by Beaumont. You've followed the clues. You've met the suspects. You've sniffed out red herrings and spotted the smock. Now it's time to reveal the truth behind one of the sneakiest art heists in history. Let's rewind to that quiet Monday morning in Paris. Scene 1, the disguise. The museum was closed. The guards were changing shifts, and a man in a white smock walked calmly through the halls. He wasn't a guard. He wasn't a visitor. He was Vincenzo Peruggia, a handyman who'd worked at the Louvre before. He knew the layout, he knew the routines, and he knew exactly where the Mona Lisa hung. Scene 2, the heist. Narrator, Vincenzo stepped into the gallery. No one stopped him. He looked like he belonged. He lifted the painting off the wall, carried it to a stairwell, removed the frame, wrapped the canvas in his smock, and walked out through a side door with a missing doorknob. No alarms, no chase, just one man and one very famous smile. Scene 3, the hiding place. For 2 whole years, Vincenzo kept the Mona Lisa hidden in his apartment. He didn't sell it, he didn't destroy it. He believed he was rescuing it, returning it to Italy, where he thought it truly belonged. He saw himself not as a thief, but as a hero. Scene 4, the discovery. In 1913, Vincenzo tried to sell the painting to an art dealer in Florence. But the dealer was suspicious. He called the police, and just like that, the Mona Lisa was found. She was returned to the Louvre. Vincenzo was arrested, and the world gasped, not just because the painting was back, but because the thief wasn't who anyone expected. Not a criminal mastermind, not a famous poet, just a quiet man with a mustache and a plan. So, detective, did you guess right? Did you spot the clues? Did you suspect Vincenzo? Or did the poet or the guard throw you off? Now take a moment to pause. Part 4, What Really Happened, a podcast for kids, classrooms, and families, where you become the detective. Written by Beaumont. You've cracked the case, you've followed the clues, you've met the suspects, and now it's time to find out what really happened. Let's step out of the mystery and into history. The real crime. On August 21, 1911, the Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre Museum in Paris. It was one of the boldest art heists in history, and it shocked the world. The thief, Vincenzo Peruggia, a quiet Italian handyman who had worked at the museum. He believed the painting had been stolen from Italy by Napoleon and wanted to return it to its true home. Although that wasn't quite accurate, the Mona Lisa had been in France for centuries. How he did it. Vincenzo knew the museum well. He wore a white smock, just like the other workers, and entered the museum early on a Monday when it was closed to the public. He removed the painting from the wall, took off the frame, and hid the canvas under his coat. Then he walked out, through a side door he'd prepared in advance by removing the doorknob. No alarms, no chase, just one man and one very famous smile. Where he hid it. For 2 years, Vincenzo kept the Mona Lisa hidden in a trunk in his apartment in Paris. He didn't sell it, he didn't damage it. He waited until he thought the time was right. In 1913, he took the painting to Florence, Italy, and tried to sell it to an art dealer. But the dealer was suspicious. He called the police, and Vincenzo was arrested. What happened next? The Mona Lisa was returned to the Louvre, safe and sound. Vincenzo was put on trial, but many Italians saw him as a patriot, not a criminal. He served a short sentence, just over a year, and the Mona Lisa, she became even more famous than before. Crowds lined up to see her. New security systems were installed, and the painting's mysterious smile became a global icon. Fun facts and takeaways. The Mona Lisa is actually quite small, just 77 cm tall. Her real name is Lisa Gherardini, and she was painted by Leonardo da Vinci around 1503. The theft made her world famous. Before that, she wasn't even the most popular painting in the Louvre. Vincenzo's plan was clever but not perfect. He left behind fingerprints, a smock, and the frame. So, detective, what did you learn? Sometimes the quietest person in the room has the biggest plan. Sometimes clues are hiding in plain sight. And sometimes a crime can make history. Come back next time for more true stories, more crimes, and more clues.
So settle in, the case begins once upon a crime. problem.